So as you can tell, the setting is a little bit different. The setup is a little bit different. I'm in this tiny little room in the back of my friend's apartment. And at first, I come in here and I'm like, I see this desk here. I'm like, wait, why is there a desk here? There's even like an outlet right in front of me. It's so weird. Um, okay, I just want to pop out the chat so I can actually see it. Hold on, I want to see if I can hear the music in the back. Um, okay, I just want to pop out the chat so I can actually. You can hear the music in the back. Okay, well, so the music playing in the back is for later. Um, it's one of those like 24-hour live meditation type things. And yeah, because I'm going to be doing work later. And I was meditating for a little bit, and I wasn't originally going to come live. But this room kind of like gives me cloister vibes. Like maybe I had a lifetime in an abbey somewhere. A monk, perhaps. And this is taking me back to those monk days. Some kind of holy man, maybe. But yeah, I had this feeling to go live. Oh, I still need to pull out more. So the only cards I brought with me, I brought the I brought the I can't say it. I brought the three Kims. The three Kims are Kim Kranz is Wild Unknown Archetypes Oracle deck, the Wild Unknown Animal Oracle deck, and the Wild Unknown Tarot. And the Wild Unknown Tarot and the Wild Unknown, I guess I brought five actually. The Wild Unknown Tarot and the Wild Unknown Animals were my first two decks, and I got them. They came in November, early November, 2018. But I didn't get like super heavy into using them until 2019. Like I did a few spreads before, and I just wasn't really confident. Honestly, the tarot intimidated me when I first started, and so to get over that, I did a 10-card Celtic Cross, which was the biggest spread she had in the book. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to take the time to learn these and to master these. Or not master these, but to learn these. And I did. And after the 10-card Celtic Cross, it got easier for me. So yeah, I have these three decks because I love Kim Kranz. And I actually saw, it might have been like Quantum Tarot or something like that a few months ago. And she said Kim Kranz Archetypes. I was like, what? Kim has another deck? And so I just got these somewhere around Christmas. Or was it after Christmas? It was after Christmas because I used some of my Christmas money to buy it. But yeah, so these are what I have. I have my Mirror Truth Lenormand cards, and then I have my Spirit Keepers Tarot deck. And like you can tell, this is the one I started with first because I have all these like colorful little bookmarks that denote the different sections from the different elements of animals. And I also have my bag of dice, just in case. So, I had meditated before, and why didn't I put this back on? I don't know, but I guess we'll keep it going. I had meditated before I started because, so my friend he's not vegetarian, but he doesn't eat a lot of meat. And so I was like, well, while I'm down there, or while I'm here now, because I'm here now, I want to meditate more. Because honestly, my meditation game has been slacking, and it's been lacking. I've been slacking, the game's been lacking. And so I did that before. And I was sitting on the ground. He stays on the first floor, so, I'm pretty pretty close to the earth. But I was sitting on the ground, and then that third space opened up to me, and then I laid on the ground just to like ground myself a little bit more, to have like my full body connected to the ground. And I noticed that like around the solar plexus area, it started to get warm. It's very cold in this apartment. It's not extremely cold, but dude likes to uh, manage the amount of utilities. He likes to manage his utility costs, right? And I don't mind the cold. I actually like the cold. But the only part on me that was warm was like my stomach, especially like in that central like solar plexus area. Like my upper stomach was still cold, my lower stomach was still cold, and then I was like, "Oh, I'll go live." Blah blah blah. So I had already meditated, right? So I did this pre-shuffle thing that I've heard people talk about because I was like, well, I'm going live, but I don't know what to talk about. So pre-shuffle, I guess, as I'm now finding, is an excellent way to go live. I kind of do what no, I don't what I'm going to talk about. I want to talk about yesterday and where I'm at today, and some of what I've been feeling, because I think I might want to watch this one back for myself, just in case if I need to hear me say this again. And I wanted to sort of like, the reason why this isn't all set up beforehand is because this process helps me sort my thoughts out. I am the type of person, if y'all can't tell, I'm the type of person who sees a metaphor in everything. And since I sort of see everything in metaphors, I can get a lesson out of pretty much anything. And so with me setting this up is going to help sort of like get me a little more organized, potentially. I think Mercury just went into Pisces. So my Mercury is naturally in Pisces, but so I'll be fine. Ish. But yeah. Oh, there's the Daughter of Wands in reverse. I had a story about the Daughter of Wands. The Daughter of Wands who found the branch from the tree that showed its colors all season. Now y'all can see how questionable my shuffling skills can be sometimes. Where do I put this? I have so much stuff. I'll set this back here because I don't necessarily want this on my space. And yeah, so I did the pre-meditation. Well, I had already meditated, and then here's the pre-shuffle. You can't see it, but I'm gonna pull it up in a second right after I shuffle this deck. Wow, the cards are actually shuffling today. Okay, all right. Well, what is this? The Rabbit in reverse. I got the books with me. Can y'all see that? There we go. I can barely see my my phone screen, but because it's angled down. The Rabbit in reverse. I think we're coming out of that predator-prey mentality. I for sure am coming out of that sort of like prey mentality and that is related to, I guess I'll talk about that first. So yesterday was the 2-2 portal, the 0202-2020. It's palindromic. It's the same in the multiple date systems because in some places they do month. No, they do day, month, year instead of month, day, year. So like today is 3-2-2020 in some places instead of like 2-3-2020. But it's the same. It's also like it doesn't have any ones in it. And there was some other stuff Chad had sent me. And so yesterday, my friend came and picked me up. I'm going to be here for a few weeks. I might be here from 2-2 to until 2:22. And if I'm here until 2:22, that's going to be wild. But I think, is that 3 weeks? Yeah, that's 3 weeks, 21 days. Roughly 3 weeks. So 3 is sort of becoming a number. 3 has kind of been a number for me for a little bit. Things have sort of come up in 3s. And so 3 is going to be the number today. 3 shuffles, 3 cards, 3 whatever. I'm not quite sure what I'm doing, but getting back to it. I got a text from my aunt asking what my degree is in. And then at 5:55, she replied and said that she had made a connection and that she was going to send me his contact information when she landed because she was flying back from Atlanta to her hometown, right? Or to where she's based, where she lives, not her hometown. But she had went to the airport early because her and my mom met up in Atlanta for a conference. She went to the airport early and tried to get an earlier flight back, but that didn't happen. But on her way back, she met the guy. She made the connection, and the connection that she made on the flight turns out he has a connection at the company that I really want to work for. So at 5:53, I get that first text asking me what my degree is in. At 5:55, she's like, "Okay, I made a connection and I have this for you." And then after she landed, we talked later. That's when I found out that he has a connection that works at the place I really want to work. And she was like, he's looking for your email. They get like they recruit students from your university in this field that you're interested in. And he was very impressed with what I told him. And I was like, okay, cool. I was like, wow, like look at this. The wheel is starting to turn. I've been saying it. And the wheel really began to turn yesterday. My luck was kind of up yesterday, low key, on an app game that I play. I got 4 or 5 stars out of 10, and the most 5 stars I've gotten at a time is like 2. And one of them is one of the people I've actually won it, which was really nice. Um, and so I go to bed, like I don't have a cover letter. I didn't have a cover letter for them. So I was like, okay, well, let me like type up a cover letter tonight and then I'll send everything out in the morning. And I didn't end up doing the cover letter last night because I'm with my friend, right? And so I wanted to spend some time with him. It's been a while since I've seen him. And I was like, oh, I'll do it in the morning. And so I randomly ish woke up at like 5 something in the morning. I believe it was 5:19 or 5:20 when I took a Snapchat. I was like, "Hey, about to start getting to work on this cover letter," and so I'm working on the cover letter. Oh yeah, I woke up and I was like, you know what, I can work on it now. And part of my brain was like, oh, I should get more sleep and then I'll work on it when I wake up. And then I was like, no, get up and do it now. So I'm coming into the space where I'm trusting that, right? And that's sort of related to this, actually. It kind of is related to this. Um, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to trust it. I'm going to get up. I'm not going to delay this. I'm not going to procrastinate because I don't know what's going to be happening later in the day. But right now, everyone is asleep and I can do this. So I got up and I made the cover letter and then I sent it off with an email and an email to him, and he just got back to me not too long ago and he was like, hey, so this is my like very good friend who works at the company you want to work for, and she's done everything from this to that. Now I didn't know what that was, but the this that he said that she did is what I want to do. So and the that sounded kind of fancy. I'm like, oh my gosh, what is this? um but yeah, so I was like, okay. And he said that she'll be gone for a few weeks and that he'll get back in touch with me when she comes back. And I was like, okay, so like a few weeks is the thing right now. I have a few weeks to really prepare. But what started hitting me kind of sort of last night, but not really until I started typing the cover letter, is it was a question of like self worth, right? And I think it's really interesting because I just watched, so on Chad Tarot, my buddy Chad, on his channel, he has up like the 14 days. If you resonate with the twin flame dynamic or relationship, or if you're in a relationship or whatever have you, on Chad Tarot, there's a 14 days until Valentine's video. And I've been doing it where I'll watch from the beginning up until that day. So I was there for the premiere, but I was like engaged with the chat, so I wasn't 100% sure of what was going on. But every morning I'm going to watch it from beginning until that day. And so I watched yesterday back today, this morning, and it talked about Jade was the crystal that came out, and it mentioned something with like self-worth, I believe, or that's what I took to that I got from it. And I was like, wow, yeah, because I had that question last night, and I was also live 2 days ago when I pulled the Beyonce card, the Nine of Pentacles. And I saw the picture, the image, and I made the analogy, the metaphor, told the story of the scales. And it's funny that I said the scales because the judge is right here. But I told the story of the scales, and that whatever we value ourselves as is on the left scale, and whatever is coming into our experience is on the right scale. And we're looking for things that match us, right? Ultimately, we want good things, and we want to feel worthy of those good things that we get. And if there's something like, if something is below our worth, like it's for us to sort of like let that opportunity pass by. I always use discernment. The judge is also about discernment. And so it is that, like, the things that we are sort of like if an opportunity comes in and it is not exactly, like, if it doesn't play to our strengths, if it's not, I don't want to say if it's not what we want, but if it's like, thank you for the opportunity, but I'm worth much more than this, then it is to let that go. And then at the same time, if there is an opportunity, or something that comes in that we sort of feel we're not worthy for, I also felt that there was a potential for something like that to come in. And then, there are opportunities that'll come in that aren't as extreme. And so an opportunity where we feel challenged is a good thing, because that's ultimately how you accumulate more self-worth, right? Through challenges and accomplishing things. And so I get this opportunity that it has been on my mind, but I've been doing other things. And part of me knew that as I've been devoting my attention to growing spiritually and giving to the people that I can give to when I feel led to, or when they need me, as I've been doing all that, and as I've been taking a step back from doing my schoolwork, part of me felt like, I should be working on that more. But the greater part of me knew and knows that everything comes in the time that it's supposed to come in. And that it isn't for me to. I want to shuffle these together really quick. It isn't for me to know what's best for me in the moment, right? It's for me to go with wherever I feel led in that moment. And so, those that not, now y'all can see how terrible I can be at shuffling. Maybe this way will work better. Kinda. Nope, not really. Oh, come on. Alright, these are shuffled down here, sorta. It isn't for me to know the timing, but it is for me to trust. And so if my path diverts, or if my path looks different than I think it should look, especially last year, I was sort of in a similar space. I was working on myself, and I had this connection. I had a connection at the same company that it kind of sort of ended up falling through. I did make contact one day, and she was like, oh, hey, yeah, like, my computer was down for whatever reason, but I'll check your email. And before she did that, I just had a feeling that, like, if it didn't work out that time, that it wasn't the time for it to work out, and that I could be persistent and I could push it and maybe manifest it anyway. But if it's not working out, maybe there's a reason, right? And maybe it was just for me to learn to reach out for an opportunity when I want an opportunity. Maybe it wasn't for me to necessarily get that opportunity at that time. And so I ended up figuring out that it's like, yes, you know, in this time, there is so much work that I need to be doing on myself. Depression is something that I've battled with for like my whole life. I'd say my whole life up until like 2019, honestly, because oh my gosh, I wish these would shuffle. Come on, just shuffle for me. Shuffle for me, please. There's way too many cards. You know what? Take it in chunks that you can handle. Okay, I'll do that. See, this is what I'm talking about. With the phoenix at the bottom of the deck. Hey, rise like a phoenix. Y'all see that? Conchita Wurst, shout out to her. But what was I saying? It was the timing. Like I knew at that point, I was like, okay, you know what? Every time I'm just gonna start interjecting cards in here to mix it up. Every time I like work too much, or I do this too much, or I do that too much, like I always have the excuse of, oh, I was too busy with school to really work on myself, and that's why I got depressed and failed all my classes this semester. And oh, over the summer I'm too busy with work, and that's why I got depressed and failed all my classes this semester. And so it's like, you know, if you want to get to this spot where you're not failing all of your classes, like I was wise enough to know that I needed to heal some things in my life to get it done. And so in that moment, I was like, you know, at the same time, maybe this isn't happening, so I can actually work through those things. And I'm glad that I listened and I actually worked through those things instead of working, because there were so many lessons that I learned in that point in time. I got closer to my family. I learned to reach out when I need help. I had the time to sit down and really figure out all of the settings on my computer that makes it easier for me to read, and like invert my colors and stuff like that. And really, like, it was a process, accepting all the things that I needed to accept. And then, you know, finding out that I had relationship anxieties, and I thought it was just my eyes or just this or just that. And like, I thought maybe, you know, that's the reason why I'm not in a relationship, or that's the reason why I haven't been pursuing a relationship. Oh, snap. Oh, I'm dumb. But then after those reasons why I wasn't pursuing it started to fade away, it's like, okay, well, I still have these questions, fears, anxieties, and it's not those things. It's something else. It's time to heal that. And I've told this story before, so I'm not going to tell it again. But so yesterday, as I get this opportunity, this golden opportunity that I didn't even have to work for, I've been vibing really high for the past few days, if you couldn't tell. And I've just been staying in that like vibration, staying in that energy. I've been knowing that the wheel is about to turn. The decks keep telling me as much. Every time I pick up a deck, the Wheel of Fortune comes out. And it's like, you know I planted good seeds. I know I've been tending to them. I know, like, I've done this and I've done that. Four of Cups and the Scorpion in reverse. Oops. So it's like, you know, I don't know. Four of Cups. This is kind of how I was feeling, honestly. And I kind of went back to that space, and I'm about to talk about it now. And then the Scorpion in reverse, like I had lost my sting, right? I was fixed, sort of like spiritually, mentally, fixed spiritually and emotionally. But then this opportunity comes in that I actually want, that I didn't necessarily have to work for, and I start questioning my journey, right? I start questioning my self-worth. I'm like, you know, it took me a long time to get my degree, and when I'm not sort of, oh snap, the sun, it came out, it's in reverse, but a sun is a sun. And I guess that was me, like, knowing everything, knowing my journey and knowing what I've been through, but not seeing myself as capable. And I know I am. Like, I've also been in this space of, like, as things come up, yes, January was crazy, but as things come up, you know, we can handle it. It hasn't been anything I haven't been able to handle, even when I didn't feel like I was ready. You know, when Spirit gives you an opportunity, it is because you are ready. And it's not for us to doubt, and it's not for us to question, and we can really miss out on a lot of good things, and we can really delay those things when we don't sort of take them for what they are. Um, and so I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to, because see what happens in the past is once you start questioning, or once I would start to question, let me scoot back so I can actually shuffle. Maybe that'll help. It helped a little bit. It's, I would start to question things, and then my self-worth would be shot, and then I wouldn't even apply, right? Like in the past, I would have been like, oh my gosh, like, yeah, I'll send out the email, but then I wouldn't have emailed him. It would have been days. My aunt would have been like, oh, you need to email, you need to email, you need to email. I would have been like, oh, I'll do it today, I'll do it today, I'll do it today, I'll do it tomorrow. Oh, I'm tired today, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll work on it tonight, I'll email it tomorrow. And that's another part, like, karma came out. It's the part, that's a cycle that I broke. So those are things that I no longer hold myself back from. And when it came to self-worth, it was the same thing. It was like, you know what? I know who I am now. I know my worth now. I am proud of the journey that I've gone through, because I've learned so much and I've grown so much, and I'm in this place that, it takes some people sort of like years to get to, when it comes to really like accepting themselves for who they are and following their own journey and not comparing themselves to other people and stuff like that. And I'm not going to fall back into that Four of Cups sort of like sense of despair, and it's like emotionally lacking, right? Because the four, it's a house, and a house can be a cage. A caged heart isn't a good thing, right? But let's say a caged mind, Four of Swords, means that your thoughts can't run too wild. There is a sense of like rest there. Okay, like my thoughts aren't racing, my thoughts are contained. That's good. The Four of Wands, the caged fire, can provide warmth and can provide light and can keep you through the night. Um, and but it was just like, that cage tried to sort of come up around my heart again, and I'm like, nope. I flipped that Scorpion upright, and I said, this isn't where I am anymore. And I did it anyway, and I sent it off anyway, and I'm really glad I did. And then he replies to the email, and he's like, oh, your aunt is such a nice lady, and she had nothing but good things to say about you, and this is the person you're going to be working with, blah, 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 blah. Right, so today, the card on Chad Tarot was about making lists, I believe, or a to-do list, and like sticking to that list. So this is part of my to-do list for today. Hey, I like how that shuffled a little better. On the bottom of the deck is the Devil in reverse. No longer bound, bruh. And the thing about the Devil in reverse is once you realize where the devil at, you say, I see you. And the devil only comes out to play if like there is something to gain. If there's something to like keep you from. That's the only time he really comes out. And so when he was coming out, I was like, oh wow. So this opportunity must be like, it must be legit. And I did it anyway, and I'm kind of proud of myself. So that's what all of this is for. It's to remember our worth. I'm rambling at this point, and I ain't even gotten to the pre-shuffle yet. But this story kind of tells it. So the first card that came out sideways was the Judge. I don't know if y'all can see that. And the Judge, I read a little bit, and it said that the Judge's job is very important, and that the Judge works 24/7. And the job of the Judge is to discern what is safe, what is true, and what is just. So on the first card, we get discernment. And the second card was the Sword on the side. In the Sword, it spoke to a decision. It spoke to making a decision, sticking to that decision. They said that, the sword is what separates two realms. And so it's also then the job of the sword bearer. And it's funny because, in the deck, Justice has the scales and the sword, right? But it is the job of the sword bearer to create portals through those realms, right? If the sword is something that can cut through realms and can cut through dimensions, then it's the job of the sword bearer to cut through their own darkness and to allow a sliver of light to come in, and then to expand that sliver, or to allow that sliver to expand enough where instead of a sliver of light, it becomes a gateway, a portal to a realm of light, and to exit that realm of darkness, right? But the dark, and then the sunset or the sunrise. And then lastly, Kairos came out on its side. Can you see that? There we go. I don't know. I should look at my laptop. That's why I have it up. Right? Let's see. Oof, how far behind is this? Because I've been holding this up for a second. Okay, you kind of can. Oh gosh, that delay. And Kairos speaks to mythic time. Kairos is timelessness. Who is it? Clarinda! Hello. Let me pull this closer so I can actually read my chats. Hi, Clarinda. Can you see, is my laptop in frame now? Hey, what you up to? I am not up to much. I did a little bit of meditating. I'm here with a friend for a few weeks. I did a little bit of meditating, and I kind of figured out what that third space is for, in a way. Or the third, I figured out how to populate the third level, I should say. I think I just got a text or something, but I'm on my phone on Discord, so I can't read it. Sorry. I don't have to wait. Hopefully it's not important. But yeah, and then I had a feeling to go live. So that's what I'm doing. Nice, nice. Yeah, so to catch you up on this whole, I don't even know how long I've been live rant. So the other day you were here when I pulled the Beyonce card, when I had the 8 stacks on the table. And I said that, you know, the wheel's going to be turning, and that it's important, or one of the reasons why it's important that we be working on our self-worth is because we're going to get these opportunities. And as the wheel starts to begin to bring in all of the things that we've been manifesting, it's important for us to know that we are worthy and deserving of those things, because we don't want to turn away our blessings. And so yesterday, through a bizarre set of circumstances, not bizarre, through a guided set of circumstances, my aunt made a connection, who has a connection at the company that I've been wanting to work for a minute. And I guess she talked me up, or she didn't talk me up, because I am pretty great. That's another thing I'm learning, is to, you know, be the self-judge and wield my own sword and cut through my own darkness, and to realize that being overly humble can serve to hinder and to block as much as being overly proud, right? But yeah, so my aunt is like, hey, like, there's this guy, like, send him your resume. Well, first she was like, what's your degree in? And then she was like, I'm gonna try to keep this recap short, just in case anybody watches it back. They probably won't, but if you do, I mean, I will, so hey. Because I feel like this might be a video that I need to come back to. But she's like, hey, you know, like, what's your degree in? And then, you know, she told me that she'd tell me about the connection when she landed. Turns out he's very good friends with someone who recruits people from my school in the field that I want to go into, working at the literal company that I've been telling everybody, and that I do want to work at, for a minute, since like 2012, right? And she just randomly makes this connection on the flight home. And so my schooling has been interesting. It's taken me much longer than it's taken most people to get my degree, but, you know, it's because there have been reasons, and I started to question, and I started to self-doubt, and I was like, wow, and blah, 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 and it was like, no, like, you know, I had to reach a point where I was like, no, I'm not going to feed into this, because I know I've been saying myself, I've been feeling that the wheel is about to start moving. And I'm not going to sabotage this for myself, especially after I said something on the live about not doing it, right? Because, you know, we're all human and life is life. But I'm not going to delay myself anymore. And so I woke up randomly at 5 o'clock, 5-ish, early 5 this morning. And because I still have to write a cover letter. I already have my resume, but I wanted to write a cover letter as well. And so I woke up at 5, and I'm like, oh, I want more sleep. But something was telling me, like, just get up and write the cover letter now. And so I got up and I wrote the cover letter and I sent it off, and the guy replied and he's like, "Oh, like your aunt's a very nice person and she had nothing but good things to say about you, and this is my connection at the company you want to work for, and she's done things from exactly what you want to do to like above and beyond." And I was like, "Whoa, like exactly what I want to do." Oh, and there's the judge again. This time it's in reverse. I mean, these are circular cards, so I don't too much read them in reverse or upright right now. But, right? Yeah. And I wasn't even doing anything. Like, everything was working in the background. And my aunt makes this connection for me, who knows this person who's done everything from what I want to do to above. And he said that she's going to be gone for a few weeks, but, you know, he's going to forward my resume and stuff over to her, and that he'll be reaching back out in a few weeks as well. And what is this? What is this? Why can't I read this? The riddle. Yeah, okay. I was like, the riddle. You see that? It is puzzling how that worked, isn't it? They say God works in mysterious ways. But yeah, and my old, like, so we're talking, I've also been talking about, like, karma came up in that, and I talked about breaking cycles, and one of my old cycles was to fall into that questioning of my self-worth, and then to not apply and to allow the opportunity to pass me by. But I got woken up at 5 a.m. I was told to work on that cover letter, so I worked on the cover letter, and I got over everything else. And the judge just made another appearance, which is all about discernment and stuff like that. But yes, so that is my little story. It was the 2-2 portal. I was like, okay. I knew that February would start moving some stuff, but man. And with the kiss in reverse, the kiss seals the deal, right? And I think the kiss can also be... The kiss isn't a ring, and a kiss isn't always special. Just like all promises aren't special. Like, not every promise is going to be upheld. Do you like the new setting, by the way? It's a little different. But it is one of the ways to subtly show and to subtly remind someone of a promise, of a commitment. And it is also the beginning, right? It doesn't stop with a kiss. It starts with a kiss. It's like a taste of the meal to come. And with the judge in reverse, I think it's, you know, to continue to be that discerning force, to continue to know. It's like, this is a card of self-judgment is what I'm getting. Whew, 7-Eleven. That was my total somewhere when I went to County Market with my grandma, and I thought of you. If it's 7-Eleven there, is it 1-11 here? Oh, it is 1-11 here. I'm on Eastern time now. So if you, well, for me, if I flip the AM to PM and add 4 hours, I get your time. Ooh. No, wait. No. Because 11 plus 4, or is it 6 now instead of 5? It has to be 6 now. So I flip AM to PM and add 6 hours. It's 5 hours when I'm home. And that'll give me 7. Okay, alright. So yeah, and that's kind of that was the pre-shuffle. And I guess I kind of just wanted to come on and talk about that a little bit, because it's something that I've been talking about. And, you know, like, even in that moment, I was like, okay, it's important for me to know that I am worthy of this position, and that it wouldn't be coming to me if I weren't ready for it. So all of those sort of pitfalls that you try to fall into when you're like, it's just like a crack can be enough to let in a whole bunch of negative self-talk. And I was like, no, just don't. You ain't even got to counteract it right now. Just don't accept it and keep doing it. And it's funny because my friend on the way to wow, Spirit's really been working and moving. That's so interesting. Thank you, Clorinda. But on the way here, because my friend, he knows, we met, is it what, 4 years ago now? 2016 is when we met. And when we met, I was approaching my lowest point, and I was not operating as myself at all. I was super into like, I was just depressed like a lot. And then the job I was working was overly demanding, and I had to constantly pour into other people, and I was never pouring into myself. And so imagine how that worked out, right? And once I started working on myself, I had to keep telling him, like, I'm a different person now. I'm a different person now. The old me is gone. And at first, he kind of didn't believe it because he was like, you go through these cycles when you're up and you're doing stuff, but then you fall back down. And I was like, well, ain't no coming down from this, dude. This is where I am. And so he asked me on the way back because his girlfriend, I don't want to put all his tea out there, but his girlfriend kind of sort of has the same issues. And he was like, how did you change? What did you do? And I told him. I was like, it wasn't, at first, it was a lot of conscious decisions. It was a lot of facing the things that I had been running from and accepting them as they were. And, once I started to do a little bit, there's Kairos again. This time upright. Kairos speaks to mythic time. Did I talk about Kairos? Kairos, did I talk about you? I did not talk about Kairos. Okay, well, this is my reminder to do that. So he was like, how did you do it? And I was like, at first it was a lot of conscious decisions, but once I started to heal some things and once I started to feel better, I wanted to heal everything and feel completely better. And so I was telling him about how I stopped self-sabotaging because he asked me specifically, how do you stop self-sabotaging? And then later that same night, I'm presented with this opportunity where my default of the past was to self-sabotage it until the opportunity passed me by. And that didn't happen this time. So it's funny how I had that conversation and then I had a chance to prove it later in the day. But Kairos, I don't think I talked about Kairos. Kairos speaks to mythic time. It speaks to timelessness. It speaks to those moments with the kiss, right? Because, sometimes a kiss can have the power to freeze time. It speaks to those moments where we don't experience time as we usually do, when we experience time outside of its 4D capacity of ruling over the 3D and the dimensions below it, I guess, inherently. But if you're too far below, then it's like, it's a ceiling above a ceiling above a ceiling. Like, unless you got X-ray vision, you won't even see it. But yeah, it speaks to timelessness. And it speaks to those moments where, time stands still. Time freezes. Or when we lose track of time while doing something we love, and it's like, why, time flies when you're having fun. And time stops when you watch the clock. And it's funny because last night, speaking of Kairos, last night my friend's clock stopped working. I think he said it was on 10:12. At 10:12 it stopped. And he was like, whoa, like what time is it? When did the clock stop? The clock is dead. But then a few minutes later, he looked back at the clock and it was still moving. He was like, oh, so it's not dead, it's just moving really slow. And that is sort of like another function of time and of spirit and of in aligning with the operation of spirit, it grants us sort of these like abilities of timelessness. It grants us the opportunities to it puts us in this space of knowing and trusting and believing in divine timing. But also, when we're doing the work, it can stretch time for us. And it stretched time for me last semester for sure. Like the fact that I was able to pass all my classes and I spent like 2 months not able to do anything. Like it stretches time. And that's what I'm getting as that Kairos energy. What is this? What card is this? I can't even read this. I can't even read it. The seed. The seed came out on this. Everything is coming out on the side. You see the seed? The seed? It's the beginning of something brand new. And two things. Speaking of timelessness and time. Number one, when we plant a seed, we don't expect it to sprout and to grow instantly. But we know that if we tend to it and if we take care of it, eventually it will become that thing. And secondly, is we don't shout at and degrade and lose hope in and question the seed when it isn't the flower, right? We don't judge the seed for not being a flower when we buy the seed. Otherwise, like you just buy a flower, I hope. um, but it's to know that the universe, God, spirit, the guiding force of all that there is, knows what we are ready for and knows our potential better than we do. And to realize that, to a seed, to go from being exposed to the light to being completely submerged in the dark might be a little scary. But as the gardener, you know that with enough time and love, the seed will break through the soil and will come to see the light of day, and it will grow into something much more beautiful than it may have ever even known it could be. So that's the seed. Whew. But yeah, Clorinda, I don't know exactly what I'm talking about today besides that. I'll just pull a few cards. This Daughter of Wands again. What she want? The Daughter of Wands, the Butterfly in reverse, and we'll take this one. The Ten of Cups, also in reverse. Okay. Well, if wands are fire energy, I'm almost getting like it's a hesitant knight. Are all of these in reverse? All of these are in reverse. I'm getting this reversal as a misconception of what is. This Daughter of Wands is not in reverse. This Daughter of Wands is upright. I'm so sorry, Daughter of Wands. So with her being upright, I think this is the energy of it's blossoming, it's budding, it's a beginning. This is a fiery beginning. It's a passionate beginning. It's not an ace. So I'm not taking it as a beginning. I don't know if this is for you or me or whoever, Clorinda, if you ask me. Deep-seated, LOL. Yeah. So I guess it's also time to root up some deep-seated traumas and insecurities, because that works in direct opposition to what it is we're trying to manifest. So, right. That's another thing. Thank you for saying deep-seated. But also deep-seated blessings and abundances. Because we've been in this hibernatory period where things may have seemed dark and we don't know where we're growing or going, but eventually we will breach the soil and it will be shown to us. It's for us to trust. Trust in the gardener, right? Trust in the soil. Trust in your roots. Because, as a seed sprouts, it has roots before it breaks the ground. So trust in those roots. Trust in the things that you've grown and established and built while you have been in the dark. Trust in its ability to continue to grow as you continue to grow, and trust in its ability to support you once you do breach the soil. Right? Oh no. That was deep. Deep-seated, LOL. Come on, sun, shine through already. Be your own sun. Right? Because another thing about the seed is it doesn't fully unfurl. It's like an embryo, right? A seed. The seed has everything that it needs inside of it. So while it's in the ground, the seed doesn't need the sun. The seed is lit from within. And it's when the seed is bright enough, when it's self-illuminating enough to, like, it's everything inside the seed that gets it to breaching the soil before the outside sun, right? There's an internal light that you have to grow enough to breach that. So I get what you're saying, and I might be like a little nitpicky, but I'm sorry. You're the only person in here for me to interact with right now. Wait, did I say that? Oof. I guess I did in so many words. Um, but yeah, with this, I'm getting the blossoming and the growth of a new passion, just fire in general, right? And with the daughter, it's like I'm almost getting the energy. I think for some things, there are things that stereotypically, traditionally, girls are um, girls are raised to look forward to. One of those things for some girls being marriage, right? I don't necessarily hear of too many dudes who, like, are looking forward to getting married and having a family. A lot of dudes want to get older and want to drink and want to party and have fun and sleep around, and that's what they're looking forward to. They're looking forward to being able to legally drink and stuff like that. And girls do too, of course. Girls want to have fun. Um, but they also, some of them do look forward to those more long-term things. And so I think with that, this is some of those long-term passions beginning to come in. And with the butterfly in reverse, I think that change, clarified by the Ten of Cups in reverse, that change is going to be slowed down if we don't understand or grow to learn to trust and understand and believe in what each part of the journey is. Because at the top, the cups are all sort of combined, right? But at the bottom, they're all separated by color. So it's like, there's a red season, there's an orange season, a yellow season, a green season, and a blue season. And we have to understand the value in each before it all sort of mixes and comes together. Or something. I don't know. I feel like, I've just been saying that. I feel like I'm reiterating the same thing. No self-sabotage here. It's been trying, but no. Exactly, Clorinda. That's where we are. Do you want some cards, Clorinda? I'll pull you some cards if you want some cards. The number today is 3. So I'll give this 3 shuffles that are very questionable. That was 2, 3. And then what I'm going to do is pull until I get an animal. And you get 3 cards and an animal. Look at that. On the bottom of the deck is the Fool in reverse. So this could speak to, this is a big deck, but this could speak to either it's about to be time. I think you're ready to leap now, but you need to grow a little bit more, right? Because if the bird is pushed from the nest before it's time, it's gonna splat on the ground. And we had, we would come home from school growing up and see quite a few little birdies who were pushed a little prematurely on the sidewalk because there's a big tree right next to the sidewalk. And unfortunately, it's not even like, grass that could have softened the fall a little bit. It's just straight up concrete. So that's not fun. Yeah. But it's like, it's also like, I see it like, doing that little, I don't know if you can see me shaking. Doing that little, like, it's like shaking its wings. It's like, it's showing that it's ready. And it's like, Mom, is today the day that I fly? And Mom bird's like, oh, I see the way that your wings are catching the wind when you shake it, but let's just, it's coming soon. Because when you begin to fly, you're going to take off, right? Have you ever seen Chicken Run? Is that the movie Chicken Run where they get a running start? And it's like, nope, no running start necessary. Like when this wind comes in, I'll push you off the nest, and you'll open your wings, and the wind will carry you much further than you'll go if I pushed you right now. Kind of, sort of. I feel like I've been reiterating the same thing over and over and over. Ooh, okay, well. Oh. On the bottom of this deck is the Unseen, number 27. The Unseen. Interesting. That's the same eye. Well, not the same eye, but there is also an eye on Kairos. The Unseen, it's something that you don't know yet. And it's funny that the Unseen is on the bottom of the deck, because on the top of the deck in reverse is the Shadow. The Shadow is number 28. Wow. And I mixed these up too. I shuffled these. So you got 27, 28. You have the Shadow, and you have the Bardo, which is number 50. The Bardo, I had to look this one up, but the Bardo speaks to transitional phases, I believe. Let me look it up really quick again. But I believe like the Bardo is like that liminal space between one world and the next world. There's 51. So the Bardo is the last place, if that's to be noted. The Bardo is the last place before you get into the objects. So it might be for you to familiarize yourself with the environment, to maybe you'll notice something, a list, right? You want to write down a shopping list sometimes before you go to the grocery store. So A, you don't forget anything, and B, to kind of help you control how much you spend at the grocery store if you wanted to. But mostly so you don't forget anything and so that you won't have to come back. So the Bardo is like the shopping list before you move into the next world of acquiring and doing everything that you need to do. I'll read a little bit. I guess I'll also hold it up so you can see. Hopefully I can read. The Bardo. Oh, girl, I can read this. Let's see. I'll read what I can read. The Bardo. It is said that the... Oh, gosh. It is said that the Bardo is a space between this life and the next. Okay. It is liminal, blah, 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 blah. Sorry. But I'm getting it. It is exactly as I remembered. It's a liminal space. It's between this life and the next. With the Shadow here, I'm almost seeing it as a shadow is about to catch up to you. And it's also interesting because, like, you see that liminal space between the light side and the shaded side, like where they kind of sort of touch at those 2 points up there. I don't believe they actually touch, but it looks like they do. That's that liminal space. And by the past catching up to you, I think there might be, I don't know, I just feel like some like past life or something ancestral maybe. Something handed down. So it'll be something like inherited. Maybe some communication from beyond the veil. But let me keep reading. Yeah, I have. LOL, just fly. Oh, wow. LOL. Okay. Alright. So let's see what the animal is. Oof. This is interesting. So the rabbit actually came out. The rabbit fell out when I did the first shuffle of the animal spirits in reverse, but now it's upright. The rabbit is upright for you. The rabbit isn't always bad, though. I'm feeling the rabbit as someone who doesn't fully know her own power yet, who sees herself as prey because the world has sort of made her think that she's prey, but she's actually like not prey. But she doesn't really know any better. Let's see what the rabbit is. It should be like the first card, I believe. Come on. Don't do this. Wait, is the bear first? Maybe the bear is first. Okay, all right, all right. So the rabbit ain't the first one. I'll take it back. I'm sorry, rabbit. Here's the rabbit. Can I read this one? We'll see. I hope I can read it. The rest of them are tarot cards, so I'll be able to read those. Wowzers, lol. Oh my goodness. So me, the old me now. Yeah, the old you. Let's keep that in check. This is the old you. This is your past energy. Let's keep this past energy in the past. Right? This. Oh. I'm feeling the Bardo as you creating this space. You creating the line that separates the shadow from the dark. So it's almost like, oh, it's taking me back to like chemistry class when you learn about osmosis and like filtering and stuff like that, right? It's like you create this filter and you draw from the shadow everything that you need, but you bring it into the light. So in the light, it is purified. In the light, it can be used to its highest good, even if it is from the shadow. In the light, it is granted new purpose. And so this is you like separating, being that Bardo, being in that liminal space where the things that within you, the things that need to be shed and be left to the past, you can leave those to the past. And the things that it's like, you're beginning to separate and sort out and filter all of the negative from the bad. And if you can transmute some bad into good, and if you can transmute negativity into positive, then you transmute it at that border in that black diamond, because the black diamond is the void. It's what everything is born from. And so this is almost you like separating out into I don't know, you're separating it out, you're filtering it. The judge kept coming up. It kept coming out. So that's you being a judge. um okay. So yes, old you, rabbit, old you, past energy, not doing this anymore, but there are some benefits to being a rabbit. uh Making babies is one. Not making babies, but an energy of proliferation. Not saying you want babies, but proliferating is expanding rapidly, rapid expansion. This could be the expansion of an influence. So it's almost an energy of like paying it forward. There's a kindness that you show to someone and you affect them in a way that they then show kindness to someone else, and that person shows kindness to someone else, and everyone's showing kindness to each other because you were kind to the first person. And then eventually that kindness comes back to you. Okay, so the rabbit loves to remind his friends. I'm going to read this slow because I'll read slow. I'm sorry. I can read the top ones here. The rabbit is afraid of everything. It's overwhelmed and frozen. The rabbit loves to remind his friends that someday the eagle will swoop down and eat him. He talks and talks and talks about it. So, it talks and talks and talks about it so loudly, in fact, that one day the eagle hears and thanks him for the great idea. I'm just going to stop there. So the rabbit is the energy, it can be, in its shadow. The rabbit is the energy of worrying so much about something that it speaks it into its reality. The rabbit is the energy of, like, they say that, so with the law of attraction and manifesting, you're constantly manifesting. Like, the law of attraction is always on. We're constantly attracting things into our experiences. And a lot of times, like the rabbit, it's things that we don't want, so we don't think it's working. The rabbit in the little story, the rabbit talks and talks and talks and talks and talks about the eagle coming to swoop in and eat it, that one day the eagle overhears it and was like, I wasn't even thinking about eating you, but rabbit does sound kind of good. So thanks for the idea, bud. Gobble gobble. So it's also getting out of that. So continue to clean up your words, continue with your affirmations, continue to speak good things. If you find yourself saying something that is old and that is outdated, then speak against it, cancel it, clear it, clean it up. Because what you don't want, like if you've gone through all the hard work of separating these two out, you don't want the shadow to then come and bleed through to the light where you're sort of in this mixed up position again, and then you have to re-separate everything out. It will be easier after the first time because you know how to do it, but if you can avoid doing it, then do your best to avoid doing it. Paying it forward and being kind to one another, spreading love, 3 kisses at a time. I remember that. But yeah, just make sure that you're also like, you know, not asking unnecessary questions. I don't know if you're still doing that, but, and like, I don't know, there have been some things that I've been learning and, or I've been hearing or coming across, and I'm like, from a mechanistic time point, or from a mechanistic place, I can understand how this would be interesting, but like, I don't necessarily need to know all of the fine details. Now, people who do know all the fine details then go on to become engineers and scientists and innovators and inventors of new things that use the same underlying foundational principles. But in my mind, it's like, okay, well, is there a reason why I'm looking at it this finely? Does asking this question serve to further me, or does it serve to like hinder me? And am I asking the questions from the right perspective? I guess ultimately, I'm like, okay, what's my perspective? What's my aim here? Why am I looking at it like this? Because I think sometimes it's easy to get lost when you don't have that. And that's not about you specifically. That's just something that I've, like, that's the space that I've been in. Okay. Yes, they have been trying to pop out, but I am saying no. I am. Yes. I am affirmations. Okay, good. So that is the energy of the past. Just keep doing that. These I should be able to read with a notebook. Ooh, the first card is the Nine of Pentacles upright. All right, Beyonce, I see you. Birds of a feather flock together. Um, it's like, you know how seagulls like shiny things? How some birds like shiny things? The more shiny things you have in your nest, the bigger, prettier the bird that'll come in and get ya. And just make sure you ain't got no like annoying seagulls in there. Because if you don't want no seagull, then don't let the seagulls come and snatch your things. Like if you're looking for a crow, then let the crow in, but shoo the seagulls away. This is sort of affirming. Like, yeah, girl, like it's upright. It's self worth. This is complete self worth. It's not a queen of the Queen of Pentacles has she has a big pinnacle, but I think this is you sort of like being self sufficient. This is you knowing your worth, knowing what you're working for, and sort of coming into that space where you are allowing and welcoming in the energy of abundance, among other things. Up and the next card is the Daughter of Pentacles. Look at that. There's the daughter. So this is someone I think who is working on expanding her sense of self-worth. Because these 9 pentacles are contained, right? So I think there might be a specific area in which you know you're good. And I think this area is to be the nest that you build off of, that you allow your other little self-worth birdies to grow and hatch and fly and spread your self-worth throughout the land. You know, like just like this rabbit would talk about the eagle coming down to eat it, so too can the rabbit talk about how great of a day it's gonna have and how juicy the carrot is gonna be. And then the earth is like, I heard you talking about that juicy carrot that you want, so I grew this juicy carrot especially for you. Carrot, eggplant, girl, whatever you need. Let me stop. And lastly, we have the Devil in reverse. Right? You have a lot of earth energy on the table. You have Virgo energy here and the 9 of Pentacles. You have just earth overall with the Page of Pentacles, the Daughter of Pentacles. And then you have this Capricorn energy in reverse. So this is all about, like, this relates to this, right? and this. All of this relates. But with these two specifically, it's like, you're not that scared little rabbit anymore. You're not bound anymore by things that used to bind you. And I think sometimes it's so, and like you're not doing this, but continue to be mindful. I think sometimes we get so comfortable knowing what is going to happen, knowing who we're with, knowing our environment, that even if the environment isn't that great, the fact that we know what to expect is of some comfort. And like that was me with like my depression for a while. I was like, depression sucks, but at least I know how I'm going to feel. It's like cozy. It's warm. It's not warm, it's cold. It's cold, but it's cozy. It's not great. It sucks, but it's familiar. When you always play small, you don't have to worry about ever being disappointed because you never got your hopes up in the first place. We're tossing that energy out. That energy is trash now. We put this behind it. I'm going to put this at the bottom of the deck. I'm going to pick out this card. Oh, oof, oof, oof. The world. Oh, okay. Another card wanted to come out too. It might be the Wheel of Fortune. Oh, it ain't. It's the Three of Pentacles in reverse. The Three of Pentacles in reverse is Capricorn energy. So you get more Capricorn energy in reverse, and then you get the world upright. So we're putting that behind us, right? Like the devil gets shuffled back into the deck. I forgot to put the devil back. But the card I came to was the world, followed by the Three of Pentacles in reverse. This could speak to no longer, because I always read the Three of Pentacles as like a teamwork card, right? And especially in this deck, it's depicted that way. This is a team that traverses the mountain together, because, if you repel or whatever, then if you're anchored to somebody and they're anchored to the mountain, that way if you fall, they can catch you, and if they fall, you can pull them up. So it might be taking a step back from a partnership that you had in the past, maybe with a Capricorn, because Capricorn did pop up twice. Some kind of earth sign. Even the rabbit is earth. The rabbit is in the earth kingdom, so you got nothing but earth on the table. Earth could be your self-worth. Earth is also health and stuff like that. It's your family. So maybe pull closer to the people who can actually support you right now. If that's family that you have, that's what I did. And that's what really helped me in the beginning. That's what really helped me. Like, I'm fortunate and I'm blessed to have the type of family that I have, because even when I doubted myself, even when I questioned myself, my family has always been there to remind me that the world is my oyster. And they've always been there to remind me that I deserve the world. Even when I didn't know it myself. And I'm very blessed and I'm very fortunate to have that, because I know not everyone has a family like that. And if I didn't have a family like that, who knows where I'd be. But yeah, the world speaks to the closing of an old cycle and the beginning of a new one. And this new cycle will be like groundbreaking, earth-shattering, world-changing. And just continue to do the things you're doing with combating the negative self-talk, with the affirmations and with stuff like that. Whew. And I don't even know how long I've been on here. It's 3:47. My friend left at like 1:40. So it's been 2 hours since he left. It's time for me to get to work. So yeah, that's what I got for you. Same. I have a great family. Yes. Yep. Was always the devil to me. LOL. Yes, get him out to me. LOL. Yeah, I know. But he was in reverse, So I think it's time for you to build yourself outside of that. And yeah, while I shut down and I separate these cards back out, I guess I'm going to try to see if there's anything that comes to mind. I don't think I really too much have anything. So I guess this is where I'll shut it down. Yeah, I'll shut it down here. so I'm not like rambling forever. And then I will get to work on the things I need to work on. I've done my meditation today. I don't know if you can hear the music in the back, but I have that playing for later to help me think, right? And I wasn't going to put on music when I meditated because I don't always, most of the times now I don't. I meditate in silence. But it popped up on my home screen and I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to use it later, so why not put it on now? And so that's what I have it on now. Oh, wow, that's a little bit of time. Yep. So now I am going to go work on this schoolwork. My friend left a few chores for me to do, which is fine, honestly. Because he, like, when I visit him, he does really good at, like, he doesn't eat out a lot, and I don't really cook a lot at all. So we're going to be doing a, like, he cooks, I clean type thing. And he sort of cooks before he goes to work and stuff like that. So I'm going to do my chores. And then I'm going to get to work. Or I might do a little bit of work and then take a break and do the chores. No, I'll probably do the chores first. I still have to shower, brush my teeth. I'm still wearing my comfy shirt. I did not want to get out of bed this morning. I did not. But I eventually did. I mean, I did wake up at 5 and I went back to sleep at like 7 something. So, but yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Good boy, LOL. Is this? Oh, I was like, I know I got more cards than this. This deck feels too light. I do want to see what the last card for each is. And then I'll put that on top. And then I'll shuffle up these last cards. So yeah, so this is a friend that I went to London with. And when we went to London, we stayed at his brother's apartment. And so, like, we kind of sort of did the same thing when we were there. You know, like, we would do the dishes and stuff like that so that he wouldn't have to worry about it when he got back. And so I guess it's kind of sort of a cultural or familial thing that they do, which is really nice, you know. Because if someone does, like, you know, host you, then it's the least that you could do. Like, I'm not saying I would necessarily do the same to someone else, but I'm not going to knock that because I'm not going to, you know, I'm being hosted and very graciously. So yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing today. I left home to do chores. But pretty soon I'll have my own place, right? You know, making this job, making this money, making moves, doing what I've been preparing myself for. And all of the work and all of the preparation has not gone unnoticed. I've been obedient and I've been planting and sowing good seeds, and everything else I didn't have to worry about. It was all taken care of for me. So, let's see what's left at top. There's the frog upright. I don't want to get into the book. The frog is the animal up top. And of course the rabbit is on the bottom of the deck, but now it's in reverse. The frog speaks to major change and metamorphosis. The frog is almost, to me, the frog is like Scorpio energy. Because Scorpio is a sign, like it rules death, sex, transformation, the occult, karma, stuff like that. But particularly on the transformation path, it's almost Scorpio's call to constantly be transforming. Right? Like the frog goes from the little egg to the tadpole to the, like, it grows its legs, and then, you know, it lives in both the land and the water. They're aquadynamic. They breathe through their skin. Or they can breathe through their skin, right? So it's a very... It's like a butterfly, but like times 10. I feel like. Because like the butterfly is in the air. The frog can be on the land or the water. And I think a frog's lifespan is a little bit longer than a butterfly's too. So, frog energy on 10. Then I will have all the chores, right? The first thing I want to invest in is a Roomba. So at least hopefully I don't have to vacuum. And then next is the Three of Wands in reverse. So I think our vision is changing. I think because so the Three of Wands in this deck is like, the Three of Wands is the energy of our friends support us up. Our friends can do so much for us, and then after that point, it's up to us to do it for ourselves. And while we do have people who support us, it's only us who can see through this window, only us who sees this vision. And so throughout the course of all of this transformation that has been going on, I think our vision may have changed and may have shifted too. And some of us may be in this space where we're kind of stubbornly holding on to the things that we wanted when we started, but the universe knows better than we do what we actually want. And it's very possible that we could have outgrown the things that we used to want. 34 came out up top, which is the Sustainer. No, this is 24, not 34. So 24, the Sustainer came out. And the Creator and the Destroyer and the Sustainer, this is the energy in between. This is the energy of cycles and balances. Followed by, what number is this? The Cave. The Sustainer and the Cave. This is interesting. So this is 24 and 32. I don't know if you can see that. There you go. The Sustainer and the Cave. The Cave speaks to mystery. It speaks to depths. It speaks to darkness. There's a light at the end of a tunnel. Right? But a cave is also a shelter. And I'm looking at both of these. So the box for, I don't know what this is, but it reminds me of a heart. Oh, this is a person holding something in between their hands. The box is golden and the triangle is golden. It's golden soil. That's transformation. I was going to say it's almost like, it's like we've been put in this box. We were in the cave for a reason. We were taking shelter in the cave until we were ready to transform. It's like how the water can be a cave for a tadpole until it grows legs and it, goes through all the changes it needs to go through to walk on land. And once the frog is on land, it can decide to go back to the water if it wants. The frog then lives between the water and the land. And I think as we are exiting these caves, we need to know it's like to see the good in where we've come from. We need to continue to take the lessons forward with us and to not be completely changed by the new environment that we find ourselves in. There you go. Boom. Got it. All right. Thank you so much, Clorinda, for spending some time with me. Like the next. What? Like the nest. The nest. Yes. Like the nest. Exactly like the nest. I'm going to shut this down here. I'm going to put all of this back away. I don't know. Something about this little room back here. This is a room of purifying. This is a room of cleansing. This is the room where the laundry machine is, the washer and the dryer. And there's like this table right here. It's so cool. And I could have done it out there, but something about this space just seems like it's perfectly set up for this. And I'm going through a cleansing. I'm going through a purifying. I thought I was stuck in a cycle for a long time, but I was in a wash cycle, right? And now that the wash cycle is over, I think I'm gonna air dry. I don't think I'm gonna tumble dry because I don't want to get tossed around in another machine. So yeah, I think I'm washed and clean. I think I'm gonna air dry, expose myself to the outside elements, to the sun, let the sun and the wind take away the excess moisture. Because I've tumbled enough in one machine. I don't really feel like hopping into another one. So that's going to be my reminder to not. The machine is us forcing things.
and when we're in the washing machine, we don't like it, and we try our best to break out of it, but we're stuck in it until we're clean, right? So now that I'm clean, if there's an option to not be in another machine where I'm trying to orchestrate everything myself, and then I hate that when like people don't clean the lint traps, and so you put clothes in the dryer and you take them out and they're still wet, and you're like, I've waited like an hour and a half. Why aren't these clothes dry? Like multiple cycles, just sit it outside. Let nature do it. That's what I'm gonna do. Everything is a metaphor. Mercury is in Pisces. Welcome, join the club, world. This is where my mind is all the time. In retrograde in the 12th house. All right, now I'm gonna shut this down. Thank you again. Nicely done. I like that. Air drying. Yes, yes, thank you. I will catch you later, Clarinda. See you later, beautiful, and thanks again for stopping by. This has been a read with me, Patrick. I was going to say something clever, but it wasn't coming to my brain. Oh, if I'll be able to end this, let's see. Boom.